You can call me stupid, yes, you can call me sheep. You can say I'm lazy, you can say I'm weak.
The Grand Frustrator, a very durable base designed for clans. The living space is situated on top of triple stacked loot rooms which can be reached via drop-down chutes. These loot rooms are not only unlootable designs, they are also rigged with undrainable traps that kill any careless raider. The downside is, this base requires constant attention, as the TC can only hold materials to upkeep the base for 16 to 17 hours. In this video, I am presenting you the multi-TC Grand Frustrator, a variation of the vanilla Grand Frustrator design that will allow for up to 61 hours of upkeep. That's almost 4 times more. It was proposed to me by Fred, who showed me the design on damange. It is inspired by Vice's multi-TC wall stacking base, which in principle consists of 6 different bases that meet around a hexagon center to form a large base. Fred found that the approach can be applied perfectly to recreate the wall stack version of the foundation plan of the Grand Frustrator. The difference is that in this design, the external TCs upkeep parts of the honeycombing, but there still is a central TC. Thanks to those 7 TCs, the core now has an upkeep of only 5.8k metal frags, 2.2k stone and 36 HQM. Together with the upkeep of the 6 external TCs, the base requires 12.8k frags, 5.6k stone and 60 HQM per day. Apart from a few tiny gaps in the walls here and there, this is still the Grand Frustrator. The same airlock, the same elevated corridor, the same roof access, the same battlements, the same bedroom, only that they no longer use the patched floor grill, the infamous chutes leading to trapped loot rooms, and the same tunnel leading into the core to the very well protected main TC. The base is a real challenge to build, thus I highly recommend you to learn it on a build server before trying it out in the wild. Best, build it from a starter with a level 3 workbench, such as my NoBP clan starter with offline raid protection. For the sake of keeping the length of the video reasonable, I will focus on the important difference between this and the original design and speed through the repetitive parts of the build. Refer to the video of the vanilla version or check out the FORTIFY build if you need more details. Let's assume you have already built the starter unit of the vanilla version. You can keep materials and tools here while the base is under construction. Remove all the foundations that we left twig here. Place the triangle between the 2 squares, then build out 9 squares. Build 4 half moons back. Place a square with a triangle on each side and upgrade them. These will be part of the externally maintained honeycomb. Build 6 squares out. On the last square, build the external TC. Here we use Everhard's cross-roof bunker design. To access the bunker, place a twig roof in front of it. If you cannot build out 9 squares, you can also do the foundation stacking in 2 steps. Build out 6 squares, go back 2 half moons and place a square. Build out 4 more squares, come back with another 2 half moons. Then again build out 6 squares in order to place the external TC. Besides the TC, I'd recommend to add a box which can hold more items that you need on the build site. Continue building external TCs until all 6 of them are completed. At this point, raiding all 7 TCs would already cost more than 60 rockets. Since we have to leave out a few foundations for this build to work, I'd recommend to update those triangles to armored in order to prevent foundation raiding. What we have done is, we have created the classic clan footprint, but since there's tiny gaps, those outer foundations are not connected to the core. Unfortunately, in building 3.2, we cannot place those triangle foundations, so we have to leave gaps. But no worries, we have good use for those later. If you have the blueprints for high external walls and gates, you can already turn the base into a compound. Place sheet metal walls onto the outside of the external TCs, then place a high external stone wall by clipping it into the wall. Next, place the external gate. Rotate it a few times by pressing R and make sure that the columns are closer to you when you place it. This way, the protective cover faces the right way. The other high external wall should fit perfectly into the gap. Repeat this step 5 more times to complete the compound. Once done, you are protected while building the actual base. This is how it should look like from the inside. Since you have a compound now, and since you require a lot of smelting for the build and the upkeep, go ahead and place large furnaces. They not only allow for efficient smelting, but also double as cover against door campers. One thing we realized after having finished recording the build is that it makes sense to protect the TCs against ladders. A few barricades should do the trick. The following build steps are very similar to the Grand Frustrator. Start with the airlock. Remember to place traps to give wannabe beach hills no chance. Then place walls all around the base. 2 layers of sheet metal, 1 layer of stone. One clever use we found for those gaps is to place code-locked small boxes there. They will be accessible through the gaps, but the stashes should fall out of reach, making this a new form of unlootable loot rooms. Next, we build full walls around the core for the main loot rooms. Place more small boxes on those half-height triangles. If you move them this far forward, you can access them through the gap. Thanks to the wall stacking, we still got those ugly gaps between the walls. But we found solutions for this as well. Cover the upper floor with items. Clip a high external wall into the gap to seal the ground level where the chute will be. Next, place half walls on top of those triangles and add ceilings. Now we can build the honeycomb parts. Place full walls where shown and cover those triangles up with ceilings. Another set of full walls goes on the next floor, and a half wall in front of the open triangle. Again, cover the triangles up with ceilings. Place another set of full walls and a door frame. At half height of the door frame, we add another floor tile and add 2 boxes and a shotgun trap. Seal the rest with stone walls and ceilings. Now repeat this on all 6 sides. In order to have the stability to close the ceiling, we first need to build the core. The core is basically a solid hexagon full of walls and half-height floor triangles. The idea is to make it as expensive as possible to tunnel in from the top of the base. Once you've reached the top, use a half wall on one side instead of a full wall. This will be the roof entrance. Cover up the loot rooms with trig walls. Place triangles above the chutes. Place double door frames in front of them and put another ceiling on top. Complete this step by placing another half wall and another ceiling. Remember to leave the one next to the roof entrance out. We almost forgot this here. Now place a sheet metal ceiling above the corridor. Add stone half walls all around. And complete the ceiling. Add a door to keep the roof access safe. You now got a safe base core and can design the interior as you like. Before you go on with the loot rooms, first place double door frames. They will give stability to the garage door and the outer ceiling. It might even make sense to upgrade them to sheet metal for that purpose. To learn about all the loot room variations, watch the vanilla Grand Frustrator video. One example would be to place shotgun traps onto 4 carpets, then place 2 large and 2 small boxes, two more shotgun traps on the side, cover it up with a floor tile. On the next level, place those 4 boxes again, then place a ceiling and attach 1 shotgun trap to it. This way we can use a window frame to close it off. For the top compartment, repeat the steps of the lowest compartment. But close it off with a low wall. Since there is no foundation on the bottom of the chute, raiders might end up too low to be hit by the traps if they survive the fall. To mitigate this, you could, for example, use a stone barricade. Alternatively, use a garage door. This way the traps will always be effective. Remember those small boxes that we placed in the triangles between the loot rooms? If you place them perfectly, you should still be able to access them. Bring a lot of patience though, it can be really difficult to access them. And it can be difficult to know whether they are misplaced or just very hard to reach. It gets easier if the window frame is turned around, updated to armor, or replaced with a double door frame. And these are the important things. Regarding the rest of the base, use the same design as in the vanilla Grand Frustrator. You might wonder how susceptible those gaps are to splash damage. Once the high external wall has been destroyed, rockets sometimes can splash the inner walls too. Explosive ammo can even zip through those gaps and damage objects behind it. If for you this downside outweighs the improved upkeep, you're better off with the vanilla Grand Frustrator design. One way or the other, this base is a challenge to raid and must have one of the best protection to upkeep ratios of clan-based designs out there. And if that does not convince you, I hope that at least you found the core concept interesting. Thanks again to Fred for bringing up this fantastic redesign. Until then, Evil Wurst out.